Wow, big news coming to us in the media circles. I'm not surprised by this. So one Joy Reid, you know that woman, and another woman over there on MSNBC who hosts a much later in the evening show are looking at salary cuts, pay cuts, if they're going to keep their jobs. So according to multiple reports, Joy Reid is making $3 million a year, which clearly is $3 million. Too much, especially when she's out there spinning CRAP like this.
Hey, I just want to give some free advice to the white progressives, particularly white progressive women who may be thinking about marching against the Trump victory, maybe putting back on the P-word hats and doing that thing. I would just say probably don't send any of those invites to any black women you know. I'm just going to tell you right now, they're not coming. I'm pretty sure black women have resigned from the Save America Coalition, Save Democracy Coalition, and definitely the Save the Democratic Party Coalition. I think that's probably not happening. I would just keep those invites maybe among your own friends, because I don't think they're coming.
Yeah, she goes on to say how basically black women are completely done with the Democrat Party. She's completely done with the Democrat. And I'm like, okay, so what are you doing there, hun? Okay, where are you going? You starting your own thing? Black Lives Matter? Going to turn into a political party? Anyway, Joy Reid is really, I would just say that this is a little bit of sort of sweet justice, if you would. I mean, she is such a race baiter. She is such a divisive person. She is not a journalist. She is barely a commentator because she just makes stuff up. I mean, she makes stuff up like, oh, that time she made up that maybe that attack, the assassination attempt on the newly elected president of the United States, former president of the United States, one Donald Trump in Pennsylvania, might have been staged.
We still don't know for sure whether Donald Trump was hit by a bullet, whether he was hit by glass fragments, whether he was hit by shrapnel. We don't have those details. We actually have no details from his physician, even though this man is still a Secret Service protected, and presidential candidate. We know almost nothing. Why? Why don't we know that much?
All right. So we're not going to indulge her with that, but just be aware that that's what she was spinning. And she goes on to say, so we don't know this. So what really happened? Conspiracy theory that she is. I'll tell you, she's just not as talented at it as one Rachel Maddow. I mean, I'll give Rachel points for at least being far more interesting. Right? Johnny America, thank you so much. A super chat. I love it. Again, we're live right now. Comment, share, like, all that good stuff. Make sure you hit the bell so that you know when I am live. But it is very clear that Joy Reid is a divisive influence, frankly. And it looks increasingly like that influence has grown smaller and smaller and smaller. In fact, ratings are down like some 42% overall at MSNBC, and her show's really getting hit. I mean, it makes sense. She's the one out there saying, hey, you shouldn't go to Thanksgiving. I don't know what she's saying on Christmas now, but you weren't supposed to go to Thanksgiving with people that voted for Donald Trump. And she talked about, very interestingly, about how it was hurting her livelihood. Why? Because you got no more DEI? Is that why? She was the woman who loved DEI and thought it was so poetic and it was so just that it was all, again, race baiter that she is, African Americans that were going after Donald Trump. Listen.
One of my favorite facts about one of Donald Trump's lawyers, Susan Michelis, is that one of her former clients was the notorious New York mobster Benny Eggs. And I will just assume and presume that old Benny Eggs was not attacking the judge. So Donald Trump is at this point outdoing actual mobsters in his attacks on the judge's families, the daughter, and he's doing it to the point that Lawrence made. He knows he will never spend a day, a second, a moment in prison. But for me, there is something wonderfully poetic about the fact that despite the fact that even if convicted, he's not going to go to prison, the first person to actually criminally prosecute Donald Trump is a black Harvard grad, the very kind of person that his former staff, the people who worked for him, Stephen Miller, et cetera, want to never be at Harvard law school, but he was. And he came out and graduated. He's prosecuting you, Donald. And a black woman is doing that same exact thing in Georgia. And a black woman forced you to pay a $175 million fine that's out now also in question because the people who put it up, that might not be legit. Donald Trump is being held to account by the very multicultural, multiracial democracy that he's trying to dismantle. And for me, there's something poetic and actually wonderful about that. It says something good about our country that we're still capable of having that happen. Go DEI. My DEIs are bringing it home on today.
No, it's striking, and a system that also is affording him rights that
Did you hear that? My DEIs are bringing it home. Well, you can't rely on DEI anymore, honey, because it looks like you're going to get less money. If you stay there. I mean, if I were them, I'd say enough, right? We don't need this kind of divisive rhetoric. We don't need somebody who's so highly irresponsible on our air. We don't need the noise and the threat. Like, let's go back to basics and let's actually have good people on television. And so she's in jeopardy now. And then the other one, a woman named Stephanie Rule, also in jeopardy there of getting a big pay cut. Well, you know what? They're making, apparently she's making $2 million. So again, $2 million, too much for her, and $3 million, too much for Joy Reid. So Merry Christmas. I feel like Elon right now. Merry Christmas. Hey, F you, Bob. Different
There's
network.
Advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger
I hope
today.
they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f yourself.
But
Go f yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
Okay, that's what I want. Again, different network, but you're seeing a similar process play out throughout all the legacy media.